Welcome to the 2023 Premiumisation webinar, and a special welcome to social scientist and premium consumer expert, Dr. Ross Honeywill. As a nation, we're under all kinds of economic pressures, with 12 interest rate increases in just over a year, high inflation, and worrying talk of recession. So value creation has never been more important or more elusive. It wasn't until we identified the two-speed consumer economy and recognised the continued threat of commoditisation that we fully appreciated the power of premiumisation in this economy and what it means potentially to every business. In this era of low consumer confidence, high cost of living pressures, business leaders are bombarded with price, and more price demands from every direction. The argument goes that unless extraordinary prices are offered, customers will stop spending. Now, this is often true in a commoditised sector, but the big news is that no sector is fully commoditised. There's always room for value adding and, crucially, for value creation. In short, we need a new way to lift out of the commodity and price trap. And the new way is premiumisation. Importantly, different premiumisation strategies exist for different business types. So what is premiumisation? Well, to start with, it satisfies the desire of consumers who want more and are proven to pay more for it. Importantly, it drives revenue and margin in tough times by delivering more money per unit of product sold. This is known as gross margin. And when low prices are rampant elsewhere in the business, margin is essential for profit and for value creation. But at its heart, there's a simple truth. Premiumisation always starts with the consumer, and different consumers perceive and assign value differently. Take the tonic water category, for example. In the very commoditised supermarket sector, price-sensitive consumers can buy Coles' own brand tonic water for 80 cents a litre. Or if they're feeling a little more confident, they can pay $3.75 a litre for Schweppes tonic water. But premium consumers are happy to pay $9.44 a litre for Fever Tree tonic. That's a whopping 12 times more than the Coles' own brand tonic water. In other words, not all consumers are equal. This busts the myth that low prices are all that matter in times of economic stress. Fever Tree is a premium product for premium consumers and sold at a premium price, and yet remains one of the biggest selling mixes in Australia. Ross, all of this talk of different customer types takes us deep into your territory. So how do different consumers really deliver different value? And where's the evidence?
Thanks, Michelle. Let me start by agreeing that every business, no matter how large, can adopt a premiumisation strategy, either within their existing business model like supermarkets, or by creating a separate brand appealing to premium consumers like Nespresso. So who are these premium consumers? And as Michelle asked, where's the evidence? Well, as Michelle also said, we're in a two-speed consumer economy. Each lane has a fundamentally different consumer mindset driving it. In the fast lane, there are big spenders we call NEOs. That's just an acronym for New Economic Order. The 5 million Australians with a NEO mindset are still spending right now. And we know from the data that they'll keep right on spending despite cost of living pressures. I'll show you shortly what their spending looks like for the rest of the year. These NEOs spend more frequently than anyone else in the economy. And then, over in the slow lane of the two-speed consumer economy, there are more than 10 million Australians with what we call a traditional mindset. Because they're the majority of the population, these price-sensitive, low-spending traditionals make managers think that the whole population must be price-obsessed. Well, that's another myth busted. More than 20 years ago, when I was running KPMG's Centre for Consumer Behaviour in Asia Pacific, I developed an algorithm to identify who in the population spends the most, and more importantly, why they spend. Since those early days, the algorithm has grown to 194 variables, including spending, attitudes, emotions, and behaviours. Crucially, it's now underpinned by neuroscience. And the value of the two fundamentally different consumer mindsets it identifies could not be more different. But where's the proof? Where's the real evidence? Well, just look at these actual retail sales from July 2021. Neos are the green line and traditionals are the red line, the black lines of the population. And the dotted lines are forecast retail sales from the Roy Morgan always-on AI forecasting engine. There are three remarkable things about this graph. The first is the value gap between neos and traditionals. On an individual per person basis, neos spend 270% more than traditionals. The second is that neos are pulling the population up, keeping the retail economy out of recession. And the third is that their high spending multiple is forecast to continue unabated. Another myth is that affluence is synonymous with premium. It's not. Simple demographics like income, wealth, age or gender will never take us inside an Australian consumer's brain. From the Roy Morgan data and actual retail spending data, we know that affluence gets big spending right just over half the time. Not bad, but the Neo algorithm gets it right 90% of the time. That's why the Neo algorithm is so much more valuable than affluence or socioeconomics, for example, as a predictor of consumer behaviour. Neos are also more confident and they're way more optimistic. After every recession or economic downturn, Neos are back spending first and fastest, back driving the fast lane of the two-speed consumer economy. So what makes these Neos tick? Fundamentally, Neos are frequently driven by emotional decision-making and traditionals by rational thinking. Without wanting to sound too technical, the limbic system is a critical part of our brain that produces emotions, memories, and most importantly, actions. And given that emotions are at the heart of most decisions, they're also at the root of most purchases. Neuroscience in general, and the limbic system in particular, are central to identifying Neos, because Neos don't just buy things because they need them. Neos buy products and experiences because of how they make them feel. To conclude this discussion on premiumisation and the evidence around the neo-consumers who underpin every successful premiumisation strategy, I'm able to confirm that it worked just as well for premium clients like the global travel brand Abercrombie & Kent and for Moet Hennessy, as it did for everyday brands like David Jones, Macquarie Bank and Toyota through its Lexus brand. And it worked for commodity clients like Energex when it was an energy retailer. You can see AHB on this slide on the right. Michele will shortly interview CEO of AHB to discuss the role of Neos in his own premiumisation strategy. But before I finish, I'm often asked what the difference is between luxury and premium. Luxury items or services are typically associated with extremes of comfort, elegance, and a high level of craftsmanship or attention to detail. They're always expensive, but never essential. But they're enjoyed for their sheer lavishness or extravagance. Luxuries are frequently used to project wealth and social status. Good examples of luxury brands are Ferrari and Lamborghini, both legendary for their breathtaking performance, exclusive design, and unimaginable price tags. You or I might need a car, but I can guarantee we don't need a Lamborghini to get us to the shops or to and from work. Owning this kind of luxury is an ultimate status symbol. Oh, and as a matter of interest, this particular Lamborghini has a starting price of 3.7 million US. Premium products or services, on the other hand, are those in the basic needs or essential classification that offer a higher level of quality or performance compared to the standard versions, but are not necessarily associated with extravagance or status. They usually have better materials, workmanship, or functionality, and are always more expensive than the standard options. Michelle's Fever Tree tonic water is a great example. It's just a mixer, and it's sold in supermarkets, but Neos are happy to pay 12 times more for it than a supermarket's own brand. That's premium. Another great example of a premium product is the Apple iPhone. iPhones are priced higher than most other smartphones, and they offer a beautiful design, a high-quality build, a great user interface, and advanced features. Now, while they're more expensive than standard smartphones, they aren't solely symbols of status and are widely used by people for whom desire outranks basic needs. Ultimately, luxury is about status and prestige, saying something to someone else. But premium is all about the consumer. It's a whispered secret from a Neo to themselves. These Neos are fearless. They'll hunt for something to fall in love with, and if it's not right, they'll just dump it. They take risks in the name of desire. But it's important to say two things as I close my part of this webinar. The first is that everyone wants the best price. Everyone wants the best price. For traditional consumers, everything starts and ends with price. But for Neo consumers, price is just the cost of falling in love. No one wants to pay more than they have to. The final thing to say is that traditionals go where Neos go, but Neos tend not to go where traditionals go. This is the magic of a premiumization strategy. It gets Neos to fall in love and spend, and traditionals to aspire to something better and spend.
Thanks, Ross. That was fascinating, as always. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Tony Pearson, CEO of Australia's second largest bed and mattress manufacturer. Tony sells mattresses in the volume retail market for less than $1,000, and he sells mattresses in China for $70,000. So he understands better than most the difference between price-driven volume retailing and a premium strategy.
My name's Tony Pearson. I'm the CEO of AH Beard, and over the last 24 months, we've been on a premiumisation journey. So what that means to us is we operate, like most businesses, in a highly competitive landscape. And rather than being a low-cost, mass-distributed brand, we operate in a high-quality, premium space, and therefore it makes sense for us to intimately understand the audience that we're seeking to attract.
Tony, to kick things off, what initially attracted you to the Neo consumer model for AH Beard?
So what initially attracted me to the Neo consumer model was its ability to very clearly articulate the ideal customer or client for a high-end premium prestige brand like AH Beard.
I think everyone would agree that we're entering uncharted economic waters. So how important is a premiumisation strategy?
I think a premiumisation, and particularly Neo-targeted premiumisation strategy, is incredibly important, particularly with an unpredictable and likely softening economic conditions leading into the near future. We know that Neos spend more often, they spend more regularly, they rebound faster after times of economic concern or disruption. And so in a period of heightened uncertainty, it provides a level of risk mitigation into the future for the business, but also a way of being able to maintain a growth strategy even in times of downturn.
And finally, Tony, what role has Roy Morgan Data Science played in supporting your Neo premiumisation strategy?
Roy Morgan's data science has assisted us to not only get very targeted about how we use the limited resource and capital that we have available to us, but it's incredibly important in helping us assess and measure the success of those tactics and being able to course correct where required, and in many instances actually be able to build proactive strategies based on what the science is providing in terms of being able to predict the future.
Thanks, Tony. I think it's great to be able to talk to someone at the coalface dealing with the economic challenges and succeeding. Now to the winners of the 2023 Premium Brand Awards. Premium brands are so called because premium consumers prefer them. Specifically, super neos. Super neos are the top 50% of neos, and they're 3 times more likely than the average Australian to earn $250,000 a year, and 3 times more likely to spend it. Put another way, 99% of super neos are in the Roy Morgan big spender category, compared to only 33% of average Australians. So first, we'll go to the financial services sector. And in the banking category, the winner is Macquarie Bank. And coming a close second is ING. In the superannuation category, the winner is UniSuper, with Aware Super coming in second. Next, we move to the payments category, and the winner is American Express, with Apple Pay rising through the ranks to come in second. In the private health insurance category, the winner is Bupa, with Medibank in second place. Now to the general insurance category, and the winner is Amy, with Allianz coming in second. And finally, for the financial service sector, let's look at life insurance. And the winner is Zurich, with TAL as runner-up. Automotive was, as always, very competitive, so much so that we have 2 runners-up. But the winner is BMW, with Audi and Mercedes coming in second and third. Now we turn to the retail sector, and the winner of the supermarket category is Harris Farm Markets. Harris Farm is a perennial favourite of Neos, and its win is more significant given that it's largely concentrated in New South Wales. In other words, it was up against national brands but still came out on top. Next, in the retail sector, we look at the fashion category, and the winner is Country Road. This too was a very competitive category, and the 3 runners-up are David Jones, Amazon, and The Iconic. Next to the airline category, where the winner is Qantas. This win represents a mix of the domestic and international preferences of super neos. Virgin Australia was very strong in domestic travel, but international preferences pulled Qantas over the line. Next to the energy sector, and the winner in the electricity category is AGL. The energy sector, like the telecommunications sector, is heavily commoditised, so it was a very close call on whether there would actually be a winner. But AGL had enough points to get it across the line. And it also won the next category, the gas category. The influence of Mike Cannon-Brookes on AGL and his renewable strategy for the brand plays very well with all neos, and super neos in particular. Next, we move to that other commoditised sector, telecommunications. Because it's so price-driven and commoditised, this was another really tough sector to find very much to appeal to neos. But there is a winner, Just. So the winner in the mobile provider category is Vodafone. And the winner in the home internet provider category is also Vodafone. It's also worth pointing out that there's a real opportunity in both the energy and telco sectors for premiumisation strategies. We see a level of frustration and pent-up demand from neos that their needs and desires are not being met. That means money's being left on the table in both sectors. Back to the winners, where the smartphone handset category was much stronger and more competitive among super neos. And the winner is, unsurprisingly, Apple iPhone. I say unsurprisingly because Apple has always been the Neo poster child, and the iPhone a quintessentially Neo product. That said, Google Pixel gave it a run for its money and was a strong runner-up. Now turning finally to the media industry, where competition for super Neo preferences was stiff. The first media category is cross-platform news, and the winner is the Financial Review, which I have to say won in a very tight tussle with the Australian, coming in second, followed by the Saturday paper, coming in third. The next media category is cross-platform magazine titles, and the winner, somewhat unsurprisingly, is Australian Gourmet Traveller, followed by The Monthly and Marie Claire, all very Neo titles. Next in the media section is the newspaper inserted magazines, or NIMS, and the winner is Domain. Good Weekend, a perennial Neo favourite, came in a strong second this year. Next, we turn to the very popular and topical video streaming service category, and the winner here is Apple TV Plus, followed by Paramount Plus. And next to the music streaming category, where the winner is Amazon Music, followed by Apple Music. Now, at first I was surprised not to see Spotify on the list, but then I realised that a brand that's so dominant attracts everyone. So statistically, it's really hard for super neos to stand out from the crowd. That's why we didn't see Netflix on the video streaming winners list as well. Now, there's just one more media category, the online travel category. But before I announce the winner, I should say there are many more media categories than I've announced winners for. For example, what about radio or TV? Well, there are super neo preferences in every media category, but not significant enough in all of them to meet the strict rules that put a winning brand ahead of the rest. Now finally, who won the online travel category? Well, the winner is Luxury Escapes. Interestingly, Qantas and Virgin Australia fought it out for second place, with Qantas closely taking that spot. Well, that brings this interesting webinar to a close. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. I'd like to thank Dr. Ross Honeywill, who 20 years ago opened my eyes to the world of neos and told me that I was a traditional. He was, of course, right. I'm a very happy traditional and proud of it. Thanks, Ross. I'd also like to thank Tony Pearson from AH Beard for his time and deep insights into the real world of premiumisation. If you'd like a copy of this interesting presentation, get in touch. And thanks to our partners at premiumisation.com.au. And of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the latest data and insights. It's free and it's constantly being updated. Thanks again. I look forward to seeing you next time.